Previously on Anything Goes.
Well, and fuck pills are new too. So I mean,
that has changed everything. Yeah, the little blue pills have changed. Well,
Right.
it's so 50% of my clientele is actually over 50.
Wow.
Yeah, because they're the ones who have the resources and make it a priority, and they are so empowered. They're the ones who are saying, you know, a lot of young people say, I don't need anything. What can she teach me that I don't already know?
Right.
You know, they know everything.
Yeah, of course.
Right?
Oh, you can always learn more.
Ram it
though.
like a jackhammer. They
I
know
like
everything.
I like
yeah.
learning more about sex. I definitely do.
Yeah.
But
So when do you teach seniors how to like not break a hip if they get into like an Eiffel Tower with two dudes?
No, but I do teach them like how to adjust positions if they have injuries, and that's people of all age. But what we see is HIV and STIs are actually on the rise in senior populations.
I've heard
so
that
we
too.
need
Yeah.
Do they
more.
do they care about that though anymore?
Of
I mean, if you're
course.
80 and you get the HIV, what's the big deal?
Oh my gosh!
No, seriously though.
Yes,
Come on.
it's a big deal.
And now, let's get to a new exciting show.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Are you ready for some laughs? Are you?
Don't clean that up. It adds character. This is Anything Goes with Darren Frost,
How the fuck am I funny?
Dave Martin,
What have we got here? A fucking comedian.
and Kathleen McGee.
And I'll execute every motherfucking last one of you!
Can you dig it?
Very much one of those people who's like, it's all a lie. It's all fake.
Oh, is she?
Yeah, it's a little bit too conspiracy theorist, but it's sort of like, I don't know. I don't mind the whole conspiracy theorist thing just for fun. But
Yeah.
like, when people are really serious into it, then you're just sort of like, okay, well, what are you gonna do about it? Like, if you're taking it that seriously, what are you gonna do? You're gonna tell me, and then what am I gonna do? I'm just gonna tell someone else what a fucking nut job you are. That's what I'm doing.
I think it's just people are like, I'm to a point where I'm like, this isn't real. We're just being fucked. This is so stupid. But I know it's real, but I'm just sick of it.
Well, I think it's real. I just think we're making all the wrong decisions when it comes to it. You know, it's like,
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's a mess. Just do what's right. Like I'm so fucking tired of people being like, the government's trying to control us. And I'm like, because you are uncontrollable. Because you're like a little child.
well,
People are acting like little children that are pissed off that they got sent to their room, and I'm so sick of it. I'm so sick of it. I'm so sick of hearing people say fucking government, fucking cops. Like, I'm so sick of it.
well, and also whenever someone's like, well, what? So then I get the shot, and then I have to still wear a mask, and it's
Yeah.
sort of like, well, you're getting a shot, and you're wearing a mask for all the other people that are not wearing masks and not getting the shot. So it's, it's, I don't know, it is pretty ridiculous.
Yeah. It's always better when we're in person.
Oh, for sure. Oh, because you can be in person and you can go outside.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, okay.
Last week, Sean has this theory that it's so funny. He said that because we were talking about like why everybody is like, why we're all such pussies, like why we all have mental health problems and so much trauma, like why everybody is just like a big giant pussy.
Right.
And then Sean's like, well, it's because all of our grandfathers weren't the heroes from World War II. The heroes died. All of our grandfathers were the pussies.
Right, yeah. That's a very good point.
So, I was a little stoned, but I'm like, this is completely answers why, because our grandfathers came back and they weren't like, and then I was like, yeah, but our grandmothers were strong women. That's why feminism is on the rise, because there were all these strong women that weren't allowed to go to war. So they like,
well, they had to run the house while people were.
Yeah, but then the men came home and they were like, well, you were like 6th on my list, but the first 5 are dead, so I guess I'll marry you.
Yeah.
And I was just like, it's such a good theory. It's such a good theory. Because I'm just like, I can't listen to people complain about their trauma and stuff anymore. I get it. Everyone has trauma.
No, it's sort of like everybody thinks that even getting the vaccine or even like the COVID test, that people are like taking this like telephone pole size like Q-tip and shoving it in your nose. It's sort of like, it's kind of ridiculous. April K. Is Darren showing up soon, or should I say
she's from BC? Well,
yeah,
that's
I know,
a chick.
She's the one with the Darren's face tattooed to her leg.
And me.
And you?
Yeah.
Did you see that and just thinking I'm standing in front of a psychopath?
No, wait, she's really cool. She's a little bit psycho. She loves comedy, so you gotta be a little psycho, but she does so she comes to every single show I do there. Like, she's amazing.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, she sounds wonderful, but you know what's funny? It's sort of like, even like when Darren was talking about that comic Red last week. I said something about Red being crazy, and then Darren said, "Oh, well, she might have had mental health issues." But it's sort of like, well, when she was around, you never said people have mental health issues. People where you could still label someone as crazy without someone being like, "Hey, come on, man, that's a little insensitive. That's a little insensitive to refer to someone like that." So,
well, yeah, no, we could still call people crazy back then. Now we can't call people anything.
Yeah.
Right.
So it was fun.
Damn straight.
Here's Darren.
Darren being politically correct and saying that someone was might have had mental issues when back, last week when we were referring.
Yeah, we were talking about Red. Yes.
Yeah. You said she might have had mental issues, but I was saying that back then we used to just call people crazy, and you say, "Oh, hey, she's batshit crazy," and no one would ever say, "Hey, that's a little insensitive," because I've been a little batshit crazy myself, or some of my best friends are batshit crazy. Then,
everyone's got issues. You're not special if you're depressed or you have trauma, okay? Because everybody has that.
No, it makes you human. It's sort of like like if you met a tow truck driver from showing up to accidents at all and talking about all the bodies he's seen on the road and it doesn't affect him at all, then that's more concerning than to be like, what, you're perfectly okay? If someone comes back to war being like, oh shit.
Well, if you want to see fucked up people, there was that great show on HBO from like 15, 20 years ago they started called Taxi Cab Confessions, where they put little cameras in taxi cabs and they recorded real conversations with real people with their cab drivers. And the shit people would say, it's like, fuck, it was mind-blowing. At the time, it was a pretty game changer in terms of reality television, for sure.
Did they know they were being taped?
Not until afterwards.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they filmed it, then they signed a waiver, so they said it was okay. And like some of the things that people were saying, like, talking about cheating on their boyfriends with the person in the back of the car, like shit like that. People fucking and trying to fuck and just really crazy stories. Well, but people just think it's a cab driver. It's got a boring.
Because it is. It's like a bartender that you're never going to see again. It's some person that hears shit all the time, and then you just think, oh, well, this guy's just. But it's sort of like, why send a release or like. Yeah, well, why sign a release that letting this go out on TV? I mean, even the people on Cops have to do that. I mean, nobody's worried about like this house. This is going to look in the future if someone sees this.
Well, there's a famous documentary called The Up Series from Britain.
Yeah.
And it's what the deal is. They talk to kids at age 7, then went back to them at age 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 49, and keeps going up to like now I think they're up to 70 something.
Yeah.
And in England, it aired on television at a time where there was only 3 stations.
Right.
And it was so successful, at one point, more than half of the whole country were watching these documentaries with these people. And talk about, why would these people sign up for it? And this is why people fell by the wayside, because they're like, they can't handle it. They can't even walk down the street without everyone knowing their business. But, at that time, it wasn't a big thing. They didn't know it could take off like this.
Well, I mean, those people weren't necessarily trying to be famous once the show ended.
At all.
But also advertisers didn't go to them and want them to sell their products either. It's just sort of like, it's like, hey, we just saw you have a miscarriage on TV. Hey, would you like to it's sort of like, hey, would you like to sell this toaster? Or,
Yeah. Was your baby? Did your baby look like this dark or this light? What on the toast? Shows on the toast.
Howdy, folks. This is Adam West. You're listening to, oh my God, Anything Goes with Darren Frost on XM Radio's Laugh Attack.
That's fine.
Okay, here we go.
Mike Bromley and
no, your buddy Scott. Simon. And there's Simon.
Oh, Simon Rakoff with a Pilsner.
Yes.
Hey, kids.
Hey, Simon, do you know that's the Pilsner from the movie Fubar? Do you know the movie Fubar?
I do know it. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's the beer that they drink. So there's a subtle joke in there with the folks that drink that beer. I drink that beer too, but
the Fubar guys are still doing things. They're still doing, like, at least one of them was doing videos for the Albertan government.
Oh, are they?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, Pilsner is a prairie beer. It's like Saskatchewan and Alberta. It's our beer.
Well, it's a very good beer, and it's $2.
Yeah, it's the cheapest one. That's, I think, the...
No, but it's good. I didn't know the price when I first had it. I had it.
Come on, Simon.
No.
Come on, Simon. Let the Scottish and the Jews have some common ground. I know why I drink it. We know why you drink it. It's cheap and it works. Same thing I look for in a girlfriend.
But it tastes good. No, I had it at a friend's house, although he is a Jew. So
there you go.
Ultimately, yes. But I didn't know that when I tasted it. I said, that's really good. Okay. I didn't say, good for the price, because for me, it was free that day.
It was free. That's a great price.
Well, hey, come on. I'm even on board now. I'm even more on board. Let me get my kills. We can have something. Okay, well, here, we'll let your friend Scott in. Sure. And I don't know who nobody is, but maybe I should let them in too.
Let them in. Let's see if they're masturbating.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
I'd have to move the camera back.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'd have to move mine closer.
Oh!
I'm not shy.
You have to put one of those macro lenses.
That's right. The fisheye. All right, so we got Scott. Scott is in Welland. Simon's in Toronto. And we have nobody from where?
Edmonton.
Edmonton.
Yes, sir.
Edmonton, Rock City. Okay, so you're in the same town as Kathleen. Now, are we supposed to guess who you are?
No, I'm nobody. I'm telling you right there.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, okay.
I'd have chosen parts unknown if I was nobody.
Yeah.
But I'm a wrestling fan.
Yes. All right. Well, we were supposed to be talking
about this nobody.
Yeah. Let's talk. I think we can figure it out. Nobody. Do you know the three of us personally?
Do I know what?
Any of the hosts personally?
Absolutely none of y'all. Nope.
Okay. Okay, that's fine. That's cool. All right, then we're not going to play the game of figuring out who you are. That's good.
Nope.
Okay. We can put that to bed.
That would be forever.
Okay, good. So nobody, we're talking about day jobs, shitty ones, good ones, ones that you maybe wish you could still have. And do you have one that you want to talk about?
Well, I don't even know the crowd. I don't know what kind of jobs you guys have all done. I do all jobs. I'm an odd job jack kind of fella.
Okay.
I do a lot of them legit and some of them not legit. The funny thing of legit jobs for me is that my wife has the first name and middle name of my mother. So when I married her, she now has the exact same name as my mother. When I fill out an application for benefits, 50% go to my wife, 50% go to my mother, and I'm always called into the office for two reasons.
Can I ask quickly, how does that work in the bedroom? Because I've had opportunities where I've been close to dating Laura's before, or that's even been a thought, and I just thought that would be just awfully weird. At some you'd have to make up like a cute pet name very quickly.
Yeah, I think it'd be. Yeah.
You never call your mother by her real name, so.
Oh, I did, but
if you call the girl that you're with your mother and say "Mom," then you've got the issue. I've never called her.
No, then I would be Ronald Reagan. Yes.
Mother.
I'm
That's
lucky.
the creepiest thing. When old white men call their wives mother, it creeps me the fuck out. Mike Pence and Ronald Reagan, you are creepy old men.
But you know, Mike Pence must be. He must be a horn dog all the time. Where
he's totally fenced up.
Yeah, well, he doesn't trust himself in a room with another woman other than his wife. I'm like, well, how out of control are you? It's just like a candy necklace of Viagra that he's chewing on all the time, and I don't know. Just learn to control yourself, you'd think. But
I think politicians should have to release their porn search history.
Yes.
I'd rather see that than their tax history any day.
Yeah.
So nobody, if you're an odd kind of job person, there's obviously jobs that you've had to turn down, or you said, "Hey, that's not my bag," or whatever. Because I don't want you to admit the jobs that you've done not legally, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But what about jobs where people say, "Can you do this for me?" and you're like, "No, that's not my fucking wheelhouse."
Not my wheelhouse, or not something I would support.
Okay, either support.
Either. Okay. Well, there's a difference. Let's go with who I won't support or what I won't support.
Okay.
Anything or anyone negative. I do a lot of these open mics and stuff down south in the States and around the world. I've been staying away from Canada because I think I'm giving us a bad name, but at the same time, I think it's a good one. I am not supporting negativity. I'm having fun. I actually, here in Edmonton, I don't know. Well, actually, Kathleen should know about that. February 20th March here in Edmonton, I was there. Not with the torchbearers, against them.
I don't know what that was.
Oh, we had a hate march.
I was in a deep depression. I was in a deep depression in February.
When it comes to Edmonton and you say a hate march, you really have to narrow that down. Was it pro-hate or anti-hate?
Well, it was pro-hate, and we were there as anti against their hate. Actually, I wasn't with them, but I got invited in.
Oh,
and
well,
this is one of the things I originally, like, what the hell's going on here? I knew one of the fellas that was there, Peter Downing, ex-RCMP, who beat his wife, and also was charged by fellow cops twice of uttering threats while on duty. So my joke to him was that I found out who he threatened. He threatened babies because they had lollipops. But years later, charges dropped, and look at all the suckers around them. So I was doing stuff to all the people I've researched over the last year and a bit. Jokes like personal jokes to bash them over and over and over again. And then when Antifa, Black Lives Matter, whatever, all those anti-hate groups showed up, somebody that I knew came over and said, "Hey, these guys said you're killing it. Can you come over?" So I worked my way over to there, and then I was front line yelling at those.
So you're roasting is pretty much what you're saying.
That's a good thing to do in a protest. Go and roast them.
Yeah.
I think this is my internet is with Bell, and I think this call to me is what Bell meant when I said my Zoom meeting has been compromised. So, I'd like to know, where did you find the address for this Zoom meeting?
I believe this one was sent to me by somebody who said you should come see these Canadians. You're doing too many American and UK. I was all over the place, and I've been kind of staying away. So I'm coming to say hi.
Is it looks like you're in a closet or a trophy cabinet.
I'm in a closet.
A Phantom of the Opera mug behind you, or Michael Myers mug behind you. I'm going to go with Michael Myers, but there's two other women that want to come into the meeting. Is there a final word or a message that you have for us?
I love what you guys do. I'm glad I could actually come and see you guys. It's great. I'm sorry if I'm late. They gave me 9:15 as the time for your guys. So
it is,
yeah.
We've
got a whole bunch of people that want to jump in, so we're just going to give everyone a bit of an opportunity. But keep following us, and we're going to do more of these open ones and have topics. And I'll post a topic, and if you have something you want to talk about, come back.
Yeah. Keep fighting the good fight.
Where did you guys post it so I can look directly next time?
Okay, all right. Now let's head off to Simon.
Simon ever had a day job other than comedy?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh for sure. That's where I knew Simon more because at the time Simon was not with. Well, he's never really been with Yucks while I was there, but he was more of an independent comic. So the only time I really saw Simon was at his day job when he worked at the computer store on Spadina.
I worked there twice.
Right.
Like, I mean, I worked there for a few years, 2 different times. You know, like when I needed a job, I went back again.
And you sold Apple computers predominantly, right?
We sold both, actually. And yeah, computer sales. And I still have a side gig helping people, you know, with computer stuff.
Right.
You know, I have clients who call me and I help them out. I mean, I used to go to their houses, their offices.
And didn't you get Dave a job once? Didn't you get Dave a job?
That was at the one on Young near St. Clair.
I was.
Oh.
I did.
Never get another comedian a job. Never. When I worked at Starbucks, I got 2 comics jobs, and they both were like fired within a week.
No, Dave was fine.
I was quite charming with people. My favorite.
That's because it wasn't 3 beers in, Dave.
Well, I would have been even more charming, but in a different
way. The boss was 3 beers in at that point.
Yeah. My favorite phrase when I worked at that computer store, if someone asked me a question, my answer was always, "I believe it does do that." And then, and it's very up in the air. Well, I mean, and then if someone came back to me and said, "Hey, you said this, and it would do this, but it doesn't do this," I'd be like, "Well, I mean, I believed at the time that it did that. It's probably because I really didn't know, but well, sorry, it doesn't do that." And then, but you know, it's mostly.
I found. Oh, sorry. Go. Sorry.
Oh, no. I was going to say it was like a lot of regulars and elderly people there that just wanted email and to share photos and stuff. So, you know, there wasn't, and a lot of the times people know what they're looking for when they come to a store like that, the one that we were in.
The thing about computer, though, is that it's one of the few products where you sell it and people then expect you to help them know how to use it. You know, it'd be like, imagine being a car salesman and the person goes, "And this thing steers it?" It's like, that's not my part of my job. You should know how to operate the thing, but they always need a lot of help. Or they come in and say it doesn't work, and you know it works. It's they don't know what to do. So, you know, but that's okay. I had a lot of jokes in retail. I like when people would ask me, can I get this or does it do that? I'd always say, for money, anything. That was my answer, you know. Or they come in when you open, you know, it's 9 a.m. They go, "I'm just looking." I say, "Okay, but we close at 7.
Yeah. Yeah. But you know, retail's not always the place where people expect sarcasm and witty jokes. So there was there were a few moments that were sort of like, what did you say to me? but yeah, no, it was an interest. And who's the boss? What was
Jim?
Jim. And who did he remind? Oh, he was like
he was a bit like Jeff Gurley from the old days. I don't know if you knew Jeff Gurley in the old days comic. He was a big alcoholic, kind of hapless. He hated the job more than we did. That was what I found about him.
That's not bad. That's not bad if he's on your side.
Well, he was to a point.
Right.
But, you know, then he'd get tired of me actually wanting to, you know, do something with my day there. He'd go, just forget about it.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, yeah, but I got to kill 8 hours here, man. Let me do something.
Scott, Darren, you want to, and we should say hello to our other guest, Laura from.
Laura's here, yeah.
And April is waiting to come in, but.
All right, let's talk to Scott. So, Scott, we were talking about day jobs. What obviously you talked last week about you retired from your business, but did you always work in that business, or did you have a job when you were younger?
So when before I went to Brock, and when I was at Brock before I moved into residence, I worked at a restaurant as a bartender.
Okay.
And I've worked as a bartender at different places. The restaurant bartender was the greatest job ever.
Right.
Bartending at a bar sucks.
Why?
The restaurant was great because I was behind the bar and didn't have to talk to anybody.
Right.
Just make drinks.
Sure.
And, you know, if
just
someone
wait for the little paper to come out. Oh, okay. This Black
I wasn't
Russian.
even that. Darren, this is in the 80s. This isn't even that complicated.
All right. Okay. The Vic 20 spit out a paper then.
So, but then when I worked at bars, I mean, because you're always dealing with drunks, and at a restaurant, if somebody's drunk, they're usually in a good mood.
Right.
And so I was 18 working at the first restaurant I worked at as a bartender. And all the guys I played hockey with would bring their dates in because they knew if they came in and sat at the bar, I would feed them drinks.
Sure.
But once you get working in a bar, then it gets a lot, like, you start being a lot more of a prick about doing that. Mm-hmm. And guys give you a hassle about not getting free drinks. And at the restaurant, no one ever bothered you. Everybody paid for everything, and just because they were there on dates.
Hi, this is R.Trevor Wilson. You're listening to Anything Goes with Darren Frost on XM Radio's Laugh Attack. Keep laughing.
Right. I love working at restaurants. Dave knows this. I don't know if everybody here knows this, but my dream when I was a little girl was to be a waitress at Chi-Chi's. Which was my favorite.
For those
restaurant.
who don't know, what kind of restaurant? Explain what that is, because people may not know what Chi-Chi's is.
It's not a strip club. First of all, it's not a strip club.
It's not a strip club.
It sounds like it should be.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a Tex-Mex family restaurant. I remember we would go because kids ate free. My parents would take us there a lot. And I thought that the waitresses were so glamorous and they must have led the most cool lives ever, but they were probably just doing coke with the busboys in between serving people. But I thought that they had these big Mexican skirts and off the shoulder blouses, and it was just like, oh my! I told my mom one day we were at Chi-Chi's and I was like, Mom, I think I want to be a Chi-Chi's waitress. And she's like, dream big, Kathleen.
Yeah, dream big.
But I do now work at a Mexican restaurant. So
it all comes around. True. See, it all dreams come true. It all comes around.
I don't know if does Chi-Chi's still exist. Is there still a Chi-Chi's
out
there?
I think it does in the States, maybe. I think it's from Texas. I miss the deep fried ice cream and the chips and salsa, the unlimited chips and salsa.
Yeah. No, I remember working there thinking, oh man, I bet if you work here, you get to eat all the food you want.
Yeah.
And that usually ends up reversing on that. And most people that work at restaurants, then the last food that they usually eat is what they actually serve at the restaurant that they're working at. But
you get sick of the food eventually, yeah.
Oh, sorry. I just Googled, and Chi-Chi's is a Mexican
restaurant. Excuse you. Sorry.
It's a Mexican restaurant chain operating in Belgium, Luxembourg, Austria, and the United Arab Emirates and Kuwait.
All right.
Oh, wow.
It's no longer in the U.S. or Canada.
Oh man, I wonder what the deep fried ice cream is like there. Ooh. I wonder what it's like to get diarrhea in those countries. That must be a sweet Chi-Chi's import.
Okay, let's bring in April. So Scott, we're going to say bye for now because we only have up to 6 people. Yep. But we'll talk to you in another week or so if you want to come back. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Okay, let's bring April in and then we'll talk to Laura because it's a perfect kind of 1-2 combination.
Okay.
So Laura and April are both in Vancouver. We've talked about both before. They're big time fans of comedy. And
They're
April,
amazing.
April, there she is. She's in now. Laura, you're in Vancouver, right?
Well, just outside of Vancouver in Surrey. Not that I like to admit it.
Right. And April, are you actually in Vancouver? Or
I'm
Surrey?
in Surrey too, but don't ask me that.
Okay. All right.
Nobody that lives in Surrey says they're like, oh no, I'm from Vancouver.
I'm in Cloverdale.
All I know about Surrey is every cop show that was filmed in Canada took place in Surrey. Any reality cop show, cops in Canada.
Under arrest.
Yes.
Or
Serve and Protect.
Serve and Protect is the one. That,
well, it's called Under Arrest now, and it's on Netflix.
It's the same
it's
thing.
on Netflix.
It's the same show. They just repackaged it.
Oh my god!
They realized they didn't do any serving.
Yeah, or protecting.
Or protecting.
Yeah.
Now it's got like a punk song that starts it. It's like, you are under arrest. You are under arrest. It's the best. It's so good.
It's great.
And some of it is filmed in Edmonton. And I'll see like things. I'm like, hey, I know where that house is. I know where that guy got stabbed.
Now, in the 80s, it seemed like there was a lot of drugs in Surrey. So things have changed, or
no?
There's still a lot of drugs here.
Still a lot of drugs.
With that big a smile on your face.
I was going to say they seem happy.
Yeah.
I found out as a comic when I first went out to do shows in Vancouver that Surrey was the punchline. Surrey was the Hamilton to Toronto.
Yes.
Or the or what? I'm trying to think of like another one out in
like New Jersey for New York, or
or even Edmonton to Calgary or Calgary to Edmonton. Those two just back and forth. But it wasn't until I think I saw Patrick McGee-Laugh on stage and he mentioned something. He was like, "Oh, Surrey girl," and the place exploded.
Yeah.
it was one of those moments of just like, oh, okay, Surrey's that place that if I have to reference somewhere horrible or where, hey, you know who's, guess where they're from. I would be like,
oh, that's it. Welcome to the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks, Dave. Yeah, we got 2 girls from Surrey, and you know about Surrey girls.
Yeah.
That's what I heard.
Wait. Dave alienating himself to women? Okay, continue.
Never.
No, well,
doesn't that happen every show?
Yes.
Yeah, usually to the same ones over and over again.
Right here. No.
Yeah, we only talk once a week now, as opposed to the old show where we talk every other day, if not every day. But yes, no, I alienate my 2 hosts once a week, and then I try to make it up to them during the show, and then they alienate me for another week.
I get it.
It's what happens.
So you guys are watching a lot of April. I know you're watching a lot of comedy online.
Yeah.
I see you're posting a lot of you're watching a lot of Zoom shows.
Yeah.
And stuff. And we'll get into day jobs in a second. But from your perspective, because you're such a comedy fan, and now you're watching it on Zoom. I mean, I'm not doing Zoom shows. Dave isn't doing any Zoom shows. That's just by choice. If a comic wants to do it, I don't look down on it. It's just not my bag. But from a viewer, what do you think of it?
It's sad and it's not the same. And I miss comedy.
Right.
Sounds like comedy to me.
It's not the same. You have people who are like, can you grab me another beer from the fridge in the middle of somebody's joke? You know, like it cuts the whole thing off. It's not fun anymore, you know?
Right.
But at least you're supporting it. That's really cool that you are supporting it. Because I'm not even supporting
you guys so much. Like, you guys are my life. I love you guys. I see you every day on my leg. You know?
We love you too.
Can you put that leg on display? We've shown photos of it before.
Yes, I will.
Here we go. All right.
Okay.
No,
I don't know the best way to do this.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
So crazy.
Okay. Let me see.
There you go.
All right.
Okay.
Can you guys see it?
Well, there's me. There I am.
There's Darren.
Yeah.
If you did that
when I straighten my leg, your mouth gets really small and it's really cute.
Well, that's probably close. That's close. I've been called chicken mouth before.
Okay, Chris Neff here. Neff. Jason Rose here. Patrick McGee-Laugh.
Oh my
yes.
Kathleen McGee here.
There she is.
The prettiest one. I'm the
prettiest one.
Look at that. That's a bad Jim Carrey. That's a bad Jim Carrey right there. Who's that?
Yeah, that's right. Dylan Mendelsohn.
I know it's Dylan Mendelsohn. I'm fucking with him.
Oh my God.
I didn't recognize him.
Do you shave my face and nobody else's? do you shave? Because I have ladies on my leg and I always make sure I shave their faces.
I don't grow hair on the top of my legs, so it's good.
Not even little tiny bits?
No, nothing. Like I'm hairless at the top of my legs.
Well, you have like 4 boner killers right on your inner thigh like that.
You know what?
If someone showed me a tattoo of me on them, I would run to a different time zone.
I've not had sex since I got these tattoos, so I don't know how awkward it would be.
So it's working.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know if you're familiar with. I don't know if you're familiar with my work, but look at my face and try to think where I might be perfectly placed.
Yes.
Anyway, you decide.
I had a show at Abbotsford Yuck Yucks. Have you gone there?
I've never been there. No, I've heard.
Well, Darren has been there. It is a hellhole. Yeah. And I remember I don't know if I was hosting or what I was doing, but I had like a short skirt on and people could see my tattoos. And then some guy was like, I got a portrait tattoo. it's of my daughter, and it's right on my chest over my heart. I'm like, so when your wife is on top of you, she gets to look at you and your daughter? And he got so mad at me. He was so pissed off because I think I ruined that tattoo for him.
Oh, well, it's sort of like the guy. Have you ever seen the one where the guy has like Ronnie James Dio here, and Ronnie James Dio is like he's extending his arm, so it looks like he's doing like this sign.
Yes.
But then also someone showed that photo and then said, "Great, now you have a tattoo that'll look like Ronnie James Dio's jerking you off for the rest of your life because it would be Ronnie James Dio's right here." And his arm, and it would be cradling your danger.
When you're the last in line, you'll take it from anyone.
Well, yes. I mean, or
maybe
you
the left feet.
That's a Ronnie James Dio song, by the way. The Last in Line.
The Last in Line, yes. My favorite of his.
Just for the people who don't know.
Hey, this is Erica Sigurdson. You're listening to Anything Goes on Sirius FM.
XM.
XM.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Don't worry. We'll.
Everyone's done it.
Yeah, that's
Everyone
okay.
from Vancouver has said FM.
Hey, this is Erica Sigurdson. You're listening to Anything Goes on Sirius XM.
That's great. Even though we'll probably use the one where you screwed up.
And said fuck.
Oh.
And so, well, here we'll do the gauntlet of people in their worst jobs that they can think of at this moment.
Okay, so I'll start. I worked at a chicken factory to put myself through business school, and it was the worst, like the most disgusting. I didn't eat chicken for 2 years.
Oh. Well, what I mean, they always say, if you want to not avoid some type of food or something like that, go to where they make it, and you'll never want to.
Right.
Don't see how the sausage is made.
Like before, they bragged about white meat chicken nuggets and white meat chicken breasts and stuff like that, which they all brag about now. If you knew what was in a chicken nugget like 8 years ago, you probably wouldn't have eaten a chicken nugget.
Yeah.
My brother worked on a kibbutz in Israel with chickens, and they said, he hated them. And they said, does this mean you won't eat chicken? He said, oh, I'll eat chicken, and I'll chew really hard.
Yeah. But it was terrible. It was soul destroying. It definitely made me go, I never want to, like my sister was working there full time and that was her job. This was just a job for me to put myself through school so I never had to work in a place like this again. So I kind of had, mixed feelings about it. I didn't want to hack on it while I worked there, but I fucking hated that job. I hated that job almost as much as my hometown. That says a lot.
And we know how much material was gained from that hometown of Darren's.
Oh, fuck yeah.
You were a Dickie D's boy, though, weren't you?
Yeah, I was a Dickie D guy. I chased Wayne Gretzky on my ice cream bike. That's one of my stories from my act. Yeah, and then another time we all said, fuck you to the man, and we didn't sell ice cream. We just put them all in the river and floated downstream because they're full of air, and we just went paddle boated down. And at the end of the day, we just had a bunch of melted ice cream and said, fuck you. Because I worked 100 days over the course of the summer. And by the end of the summer, my only goal was to work there long enough to buy a 10-speed bike. And after 100 days, I saved about $140.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Don't tell your kids that story because they'll never want to work.
Oh, trust me, I know that. So that's my shitty job. What about any of you guys? What about you, Simon? I know you talk about computers, but a shitty job you ever had?
I was a dishwasher briefly. That was a terrible job. At a restaurant actually just down the street from the original, Bay Street Yuck Yucks, a Hungarian restaurant. The guy was, anyway, whatever. I mean, he's running a cheap diner.
Right.
And he would get excited when they deliver stuff if the cardboard was good. He'd be like, good carton. Oh, this is good carton. Because he'd put it on the floor in the kitchen, as the carpet. And I lost that job after a few weeks because he had me cutting cabbage, and I like sliced my hand open, and I couldn't wash dishes. It was just
right.
That was the end of it. But yeah, that was pretty terrible.
Go ahead, Dave.
No, I was just going to say, I've had a lot of one. Canada Post was probably the worst.
You work for Canada Post.
Well, technically I still do because you have to do a lot of shit to get fired from there. But but it was one of those jobs where you sort of like and then you just keep thinking about all those Canada Post employees that would like show up with a gun and start shooting people, and you were sort of like, yeah, I get it. I get it. It's good that I don't have access to firearms that quickly because I might come back here. And it was just, then there was moments try to confide in one of the employees just being like, oh, fuck, man, I am wiped out, man. I don't think I'm going to make it through this. And then he was like, oh, man, you got it, man. Just keep going through, man. Oh, those benefits. But then I was just like 20 or 30 years of all that shit just for benefits. And it was just like, I don't know, and it is like that, what's the Newman from Seinfeld? When he says, it is true. It just never stops. Like there's moments when they bring you your route in the morning and you file a box and then you turn around and there's 3 more boxes. You file those and you turn around, there's 3 more, and it just never stops. And there's
Paper's got to get done, Dave. Paper's got to get moving.
Were you a sorter or a letter carrier?
I was a sorter and a letter carrier, and I drove a truck for a while. And there were times where I was just doing the job, but I forgot that I was in a Canada Post truck. And so I was like rolling down the windows, screaming like, fuck you to people. And I was just like, oh man. And then I realized, oh shit, you're in a Canada. I thought I was in my own car for a second. That
you normally drive down the street screaming,
fuck you.
Mostly, yeah. But
I'm Dave Martin, motherfucker.
Yeah.
I've seen how you drive in Toronto. It's terrifying. Dave will just like flip a bitch right in the middle of a street. Like not like people will. I understand U-turns, but Dave will be in the middle of like a Queen Street and just turn around.
Oh, and I was a horrible I was an Uber driver for about 3 weeks too. And man, I was bad. I missed the turn off to the airport so many times, and you just try to keep your composure. Yes, I know I
missed that turn off. That's like what
I shouldn't have.
That's like a straight shot. How can you miss that?
Yeah, I know. How could I? But I did. Okay, we're gonna let Simon go. Bring James Cunningham in. See you later, Simon.
Hi guys.
Bye, Simon.
Bye, Simon.
And
bring James in, and we got to talk to the ladies about their worst jobs. But I guarantee you, when James comes in, he's going to try to take over. So let's be careful.
Okay.
Look at him.
Look at him. Where are you?
Bullshit. That's a green screen. That's a green screen.
No, it's not actually.
That's a green screen.
Living room looks like Toronto Yuck Yucks with all the headshots on the back.
Yeah, that's a green screen.
Do you have
Are you making fun of me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Are you mocking? I could just hear you now. Are you mocking my
green screen? Look at you.
I'm growing a green screen. I'm growing it.
Yeah.
Me.
What headshot do you have on that pillow? That's a concern of mine.
That is it's my headshot, of course. It's from the Maryland. We did a segment on the Maryland Dennis show. And we were playing pranks on one of the designers.
Yes.
And so they made pillows with my head. You have to have a pillow of your head.
I want that. So then when I fall asleep and I got to put a pillow between my legs, James.
Yes. Yes.
Put your face right there.
I have a very precarious headshot of us in Las Vegas, actually, of us doing something very like that.
Yeah.
Which I'm going to break out.
Break that out. But let's talk to the ladies about bad jobs or shitty jobs. So, Lori, you start. Can you tell us what shitty jobs you had?
Had a lot of shitty jobs, but probably the worst was telemarketing for the newspaper.
Oh.
Nobody wants to talk to you.
No. Nobody wants a newspaper anymore.
Well, this was not to age myself, but 20 years ago.
Still, very few people even then.
So I was
for 20 years. Oh my God.
So I was like 15 years old, and I remember this quite well, that this lady picked up her phone and she's like, listen, I'm in the middle of fucking my husband.
Whoa.
So if you wouldn't mind leaving me alone, that would be great. And I'm like, why would you answer your phone?
Yeah.
He's not that good, obviously.
Yeah, what do you...
Oh, it's a deal. A deal's a deal. Come on.
Maybe he should be your ex-husband.
If you close that deal, though, you should have gotten a bonus for sure.
Yeah.
You should be like,
yes.
Be like, closer.
But then I also remember there was like this voicemail that I got once, and this guy sounded really hot, so I like left him my name and phone number because I have no shame.
Sure.
How does a guy
never do that without seeing him?
This was 20 years ago. Give me a break. It was before Facebook.
It was another time. There was no rape back then. It was
It's
another
a different
time.
kind of close. Yeah. She closed in a different way. She's like, got the number. Close. Doesn't matter. Does not matter.
James always brings props. Even in the bedroom, he brings props. A fucking bell.
Especially.
Yeah.
I'm like.
Yeah. I want to do a little role play. Get the pill with your face on it. I know. Yeah.
No, we're not. We're not doing that.
I would have liked to have got that call that Laura got about I'm fucking my husband right now. Because the one job that I had that involved phones is that we were doing surveys, and it was always about like farm equipment or farming and things like that. And so the phone, and I'd be like, it was for Angus and Reed Field Group that would do surveys.
Yeah, the marketing group.
Yeah, but we were always calling people, and it wasn't a surprise that they got a call. But it would have been funny if the wife answered and just said, can I speak to the person who's in charge of the finances or whatever sexist way of asking, can I speak to the man of the house back then? I would just say, and then, well, I'm fucking him right now. Well, can he take the call? And then that would have been really good if he took the call while getting fucked. One thing to take a call while someone's getting fucked, but
I remember once someone called me from a newspaper, a telemarketer, and they wouldn't stop calling me. And I actually went away on the road, and they started delivering free newspapers to my place. So when I got back, there was like 8 newspapers. Like, obviously people now know that I was gone, and they shouldn't do that. They should never. There was like, I guess there's supposed to be a rule. After 2 newspapers, they're not supposed to put more out because then it's obvious. So I get a telemarketer calling, pushing the Toronto Star. It's actually happened, and James will remember this. I literally said on the phone, if you don't stop calling me right now, I'm going to take a newspaper down to your head office. I'm going to lay it on the floor, and I'm going to take a shit on it.
And you can hear the guy. You can hear the guy with the binder, and the guy's like,
yeah, he's rolling through the pages because he's got a checklist of what to say. And I'm sure he looked it up because I said, can I talk to the manager? He's like, yes, because I don't think there's the I'm going to shit on a newspaper checklist on there.
No, but you forgot the most important part. He said, yes, ma'am. Didn't he say yes, ma'am?
That happens to me every other week. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, lady. I get that all the time.
Yeah, I've gotten tired of telling people that I live in a condo, so I don't have any eavesdrops and windows to be cleaned.
Yeah.
And then so now it's like
answer your phone.
Pardon?
If I don't know the number, I do not answer the phone.
Yeah, I used to be an answerer. Now I never answer. Even if
do you ever get those exotic numbers? There's like those really exotic numbers sometimes. And you're like, what if it's like, because you're crazy show business, you're like, what if it's someone in like LA or New York that wants
what?
That, like,
whoa,
we saw you on YouTube, and you're like,
they'll leave a message. They'll leave a message.
I'm with James. Maybe it's some crazy showbiz thing. That's constantly. Yeah. Not because I'm not Mr. and Mrs. Popular like Darren and Kathleen are. So they can just avoid. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Well, I just know that no one's ever calling me for a show business reason. So I'm never like, oh, this is it. This is my call.
You got one person. It could be like the 80s. You never know who's in the audience. I think I got a pretty good idea who's in the audience.
Oh, who's this? Bill Murray? Fuck you, Bill Murray. Fuck you. Ha ha. And then it's Bill Murray. Every story's like that. Then Bill Murray calls back. It is me. Don't hang up. I'm like, oh, I'm going to be in Ghostbusters 8? Oh, great.
So then I just started to tell them I have, they'll be like, oh, how are you doing today, sir? And first of all, I can say, oh, not that well. And then they're sort of like, oh, and then I can hear the pages start flipping. And what seems to be the matter? Well, I just found out this morning I have prostate cancer.
Oh, Dave!
Just flipping and then there's and only one has actually tried to keep the call going. Most of the time they're like, "Oh, that's very terrible, sir. I hate hearing that." And then I hope you have a good day. And then they'll hang up. But a couple of them have been like, well, in these very uncertain times.
Oh, no.
Like
do you still rent your water heater? Because if you're going to die.
Can I tell you something, though? I went in to try and get a consolidation loan to try and get something like this was a few years ago. And I remember going in, and it was me and my fiance. He wasn't my fiance then, but we were going to try and get something together. And the girl looked at everything, and she's like, she basically said no to everything. And then she looked at me, and I'm not even, this isn't an over-exaggeration or anything. She literally said to me, well, at least you don't have cancer. was like, what? Because I was so upset that my credit was so bad and everything. And then she goes, well, you don't have cancer. And then I was like, I should have said, actually, I do. But I would never do that. But yeah, that was the most shocking thing that anyone has ever said to me. Other than that, and the old man that said, let's get a look at your big vagina after a show. That was shocking as well.
Hang on. You got that too?
I know.
Ding!
Yeah, I know. Yeah, this guy was not he wasn't gender biased. It was a universal.
It's like, I'm like,
big vagina.
Okay. I'm a people pleaser.
Now, before we get to April and James, you can tell us one of your shitty day jobs. James, I just was watching over the weekend the second John Wick movie, and did you know that they shot a lot of that at the Jane Hotel where we stayed?
No, really?
Yeah.
Now, okay,
I didn't know that.
I didn't know, but there's a couple places that we were actually in New York where they shot that. But the Jane is like, it's an awesome place for. Did you like that place?
I really liked it because I
love that place.
Bare minimum sort of.
I just want a bed and I want to be by myself.
Yes.
So if I want to jack off to like amputee porn, I've got the area to do that.
Come on.
And that's they have a room just for Darren for that. They have and you ring the bell and you get the
That's
thing.
a category. That's a category. I know, Laura. I know, but that's a category. It's also called midget porn. It's not called little person porn.
Don't get me wrong. I've thought about doing an OnlyFans. There is a fetish for it.
There is.
Okay, this is called Anything Goes, so I'm going to ask a question. In amputee porn, if they have an amputated arm, do they use that instead of finger banging? Is it like a stump thing?
Yeah, it's called pegging.
Yeah.
When you take an amputated arm, and if it's just a nub, then you...
Yes.
Okay.
Do that?
Well...
Yes.
I think
and the thing is, someone on this Zoom call, that is one of their shittiest jobs.
The arm.
Yeah.
Let's find out who.
Yeah. But that was it.
Had that job.
Who's had that job?
Let me clear something up here. I'm actually not into amputee porn, but the reason I love to say it is because it's something that people, like one time a booker wanted me to stay at their place with their kids. And that's why I said, I'm like, well, you know what? If your kids don't mind me whacking off to amputee porn at 4 o'clock in the morning, you might learn something. All of a sudden, I got a hotel room.
They're like, and booking for one, please.
Yes.
Yes. We'll need a room.
I did have a job for a while at an adult video store in the mid-90s.
Okay, I thought you were going to say filming amputee porn. I was going to be like, okay, Dave, that's enough.
No.
I had a sex toy
a freelance
job.
thing to do. So, I worked at one video store for only a couple of days because then I got a better security job. But I remember being interviewed at one video porn store, and then the guy during the interview, this is when they actually had those booths set up where you put a quarter in and you'd do your business and you'd watch it in a little booth and. And then so the guy, it is gross. It's
every woman always goes ew, and every guy kind of goes, "Would I do that?" That's the first thing they think.
Of course they would.
That's all you.
I'm not debating whether I do it, but the first question of a man is always, "Would I do it?" But most women is kind of, "Ew, God."
Well, I mean, yeah, but it was the mid-90s. There was nowhere else.
Yeah, it was 20 years ago.
If you were out on the street and you needed something at that moment, a fix. But when I was being interviewed. The guy was asking me, it's like, I've worked in a video store before, blah, blah, blah. And then so I asked him about the booths, and he was just like, oh, yeah, don't worry about that. We have a specialty crew that comes in and mops that stuff up at the end of the night. And
at the end of the night?
I had that issue too. And at the end of the night, and then also I thought, I wonder if anyone ever walked out of the job interview at that point, was just like, what? That's the only reason why I wanted to work here was to mop up cum. What the fuck is this going on? What is just shit going on?
I worked at a sex shop too, and it's not as much fun as I was like, this will be fun. I'll get some jokes, but it was not fun. It was actually it was always awkward, and then there'd be men that would come in and just not leave, talk about stuff, and you have to show. And you don't know if they're being a creep or if they're actually interested in the Fister 5000. So you've got to explain everything. And yeah, I
and you've got to be polite. You've got to be cheery with them, and like kind of inviting. Like, hey, I'll talk to you about these things.
Yeah,
exactly.
I didn't have to be inviting or cheerful. I just
I don't think that's ever going to be on your resume, Dave.
I was a camp counselor once.
That was James' shitty job. You didn't mop up cum?
Yeah,
What?
yeah, it's like-
You weren't a cum whopper?
I was like, I'm gonna zoom in because I could talk about crazy jobs. That's wacky. And now we're talking about
That's
a
why
very
we always-
different set of
we always love to have
subjects.
the cleanest comic in Canada on a show where we talk about mopping up cum. You should hit the bell. The bell's the best. The bell's the best. Okay, April, you must have a horrible, shitty job. If not, we can go to
but
James.
it's so depressing. And this is a comedy
Good.
one, so
Good. No, that's okay.
I so feel like hello, April. We're listening.
I used to bag and tag German Shepherds and Rottweilers because I worked at a vet clinic. And when you're the lowest man on the totem pole, you have to bag and tag the dead bodies.
Did you say bag or bang? What did you just say?
Bag.
I heard bang for a second. I'm like,
wow.
I could not work at a vet clinic just because I could not on a daily basis have to see that. Oh my god.
Are you an animal person, April? Like before that?
I love animals. I wanted to work in a vet
So
clinic.
you thought, it's like I work here. This would be great.
Yeah.
I can help animals at day one.
Right.
Here's your plastic bags.
That's right.
There's a bunch of
I
tags.
always suggest to people that if they think they want to do something, go get a job in that area and see it. Like I thought I wanted to be a teacher, and then I did day camps, and I hated it.
I wanted to be a comedian.
Oh, we're showing our dogs off.
we're showing our dogs off. I saw your dog, Kathleen. I was like, she was passed out under the desk. She's like, then she heard about the vet clinic, and now she's wide awake. She's like, what's this
bag
about?
And tag.
What?
Bag and tag.
No.
I know.
Imagine if I just sit here and just look at you like this, just
Soul crushing.
who are you?
How many dogs a day do you think?
Oh my goodness, like at least 10.
Oh
no!
Yeah.
How big of a joint was this? How big of a was it really?
It's the main clinic in Langley.
Oh, okay.
Dead dogs are out.
Okay.
That's what it was.
Dead dogs.
Dogs are us.
Don't listen to that.
Dave Martin. Don't.
Don't listen.
I think we found a job. I think we found a job worse than mopping up cum.
Yeah.
That is the
tagging of dogs.
I honestly would rather mop up cum all day than bag and tag a dog.
All day.
Let's just think for a second. The absolute worst back alley in the world would be one that backs onto both of those businesses at the same time. That would be the worst
river
garbage
of cum
route.
meets a dead dog in a bag and it just floats on top.
Oh my god.
Image of the night.
I like how this started off with April saying that Darren asking, "Oh, you're a dog, you're an animal person," and then everyone's always like, "Oh, I love animals." At the same time, have you ever heard anyone be like, "You know what? I hate animals." Really, that's not something.
I hear people say they hate cats all the time.
I know people that are not big animal people.
Yeah, but no one ever says I hate animals, but unless it was a particular one. But yeah,
how can you hate this? Look at this little thing.
James, you were a camp counselor?
I was. Dave, check it out right here. This is the knob hanging, the doorknob thingy from the Jane Hotel. Look at that right there.
I stole one of those too. I don't know.
You have to steal them. You have
I
to
was
steal them. Right here. What's that?
It's a very cool.
What's on it?
So the front is, this is the go away, do not disturb. This is the
yeah.
And then this is the clean my 6 square foot room.
Yeah.
It's literally
what is that?
right now.
Oh, a bell.
Like a little bell, yeah. You see how
It's literally
you have to
just so you understand, it's only 8 feet long.
It's the size of a bed.
8 feet long and only about 3 feet wide. That's the whole room.
That's the perfect hotel room.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And it's hipster and it's awesome and it's cool and it's like it was like 100 and something a night. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, James, when you were a camp counselor, was there shit that you could get away with back then that you think now of like, oh my God, how did I? Because I know I was a ride operator at the Centerville.
Carney, don't call yourself a ride operator.
Yeah, you were a carny.
You were a carny, motherfucker.
I didn't travel.
Smells like cabbage.
You have to
smell
travel.
like cabbage, Dave.
You gotta travel. Don't give me this travel. You traveled to work. You're a carny.
Yeah, I took a ferry to work.
Right.
Oh.
Be careful how you say that.
You know what? You're a fairy carny.
Yeah.
Or a carny fairy. Either way you say that, it's never good.
And I got fired, and I had to go all the way over there on the ferry to get fired in person, and then go back, which was always a shit thing. But there must have been. I yelled at kids all day long. I yelled at kids, and I'm not sure.
How many jobs have you been fired from, Dave?
First
How
of all,
many jobs have you been fired
hold on
from?
a second, Dave. A second ago, you're like, I don't know anyone that said, I hate dogs or I hate animals. And you're like, I just yelled at kids all day. You're in that category of I hate kids. Come on.
He's like, yeah, well, I hate kids.
Yeah. Dogs are okay. Little humans, fuck them.
Well, let me just say, if a dog or a cat goes missing, the cops aren't knocking at your door. But anyways, the point that it is, James, was there stuff that you got away with as a counselor? Because I would have been
only Dave Martin can say something that's a regular person would say it and he'd be like, yes, you're right. But Dave says it says like
yeah.
Has he been through this?
Yeah. The point is that O.J. Simpson didn't do it. Now, James, when you were a camp counselor, was there stuff that you got away with that nowadays that you'd be like, ooh, shit, man, I'm not gonna...
Well, this was a camp that was it was like a how do you say it? It was like we got paid, but we got paid very little because it was like a Catholic it was
government run through the Catholic education probably department.
Sort of kind of thing. It was like a more like half volunteer, half pay. So it's for needy kids. It's like needy, like these kids needed to get the heck out of the city.
Yeah, and a lot of Jesus and square ball. It's a good mix.
A lot. Yes, yeah. There you go. Yeah, there you go.
Racial connotation in that.
And
hey man, my dad was an atheist, but when he was hammered on Sunday morning, all of a sudden he found religion pretty quick. It was good daycare. A little bit of Jesus.
I thought this podcast was called Puppies and Rainbows.
Yeah.
You misled me there.
Dead dogs and rainbows that come. That's what it's called.
Wrong. This is a vastly different experience than I was expecting, Darren Frost.
I think James Cunningham might get canceled for being on this episode.
Was it like working at like those like in Jason? Like was it that? Like was it sleepaway camp?
Kind of, yeah. It was kind of like that, yeah.
Were you ever terrified of being murdered?
You know what? So there was this one kid, Jerome, who would always take off. He took off in the woods, and so I have two stories. There's no pranks like camp pranks. There's just no.
Right.
So there's this road that he'd always take off back to like sort of town. So it was always someone's job. It's like, oh, Jerome took off again. It's like, oh, you got fastly got to go find Jerome on the freaking road. So you're out there and you're by yourself and it's like dead night and it's like your eyes are kind of adjusting, but all of a sudden, and I don't know how, I was like 16 years old, I'd never experienced fireflies ever in my entire life. And I'm on this country road by myself, in the dark, pitch black.
Yes.
And all of a sudden I see fireflies for the first time.
Yes.
And I thought they were the eyes. They were the eyes of some light. And like I literally like the cold ran from the top of my head down to the bottom of my head. So the newbie guy, again, there was like this like boathouse down by there was like the waterfront. They call it the waterfront, right? So everyone's in the main cabin. We're all up there. And then the whole thing was like, if you lost this one little game, you had to run and do a lap around the boathouse, right? So what we had was one of the other counselors had a chainsaw with the chain off and one of those Jason masks ready to just like so we're all sitting. So it's like, okay, you lost, buddy. You got to run down the thing, do a lap at the boathouse. So he runs down, and we're all quietly waiting in the and all of a sudden, and that's all we heard. And the next thing, I've never seen an 18-year-old guy run through a screen door like Fred Flintstone.
Yeah.
Like literally the push right through a screen door.
Have you not seen that? There's a small short video. It went viral years ago of two young kids stayed up late watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh yeah.
And the parent told them not to. And so when the parents got home, the two kids are curled up together in bed, like asleep, scared. So the dad taught them a lesson, got a chainsaw and a mask, and went over their bed and started the fucking chainsaw. And the kids wake up. The one kid almost runs up the wall. It's like fucking terrifying.
Terrifying.
I hate getting scared, but I love scaring people.
That's everybody. That's everybody.
I didn't know that.
That's a fun fact about me.
Who's the first that goes, I love being scared, but I don't like scaring people. And you know what? Fuck animals and children.
Yeah.
seen that video. I've seen the video of the dad busting into the room with the chainsaw and the Leatherface mask. I didn't know I had this long backstory where the mom said, "Don't watch that." And okay,
yeah.
Because I was a while ago. I saw this one video online where it was a cat attacks dog for farting, right? And the video is just the cat's lying there, and then the dog.
I guarantee you searched those exact words.
Oh, you just stumbled upon it, did you, Dave?
Yeah.
I put in pussycat, and all of a sudden, what came up? You know?
Yeah.
By the way, Dave, how's the PI? How's the private investigation firm going in the background you got going on there?
Pretty good, I think. Yeah.
Dave Martin, PI.
Private Dave.
Podcast investigator.
He's never been private about his dick.
Let me get through this dumb story, okay? So I remember watching this. So I remember seeing this video online, and it was a cat attacks dog for farting in bed, and then you watch the video, and then it's long, and then you just see there's the cat, and then the dog. You can kind of audibly hear the dog fart, and the cat hits the dog, and ha ha ha, we all have a good laugh, and then a couple of days later, I'm out with someone, and then they show me that same video, or I show them the same video, but it doesn't have like the caption of dog farted, and so all she sees is in this one video is just the cat hitting the dog, and then it was just one of those moments where someone's like, well, you got to see the rest of the video. The dog, the cat's justified hitting the dog, but you didn't see it that one time. So, anyways, wouldn't it have been great?
Podcast investigator.
Can we get back to dead dogs in bags?
Happier things, yeah. But
Ring with a Friend. The movie The Ring. Has everybody seen it?
The Ring, yes, The Ring.
I haven't. I have not seen that. I have not seen that.
It's a very good horror movie, but I went to go see it with a friend, and then like that night I called her at 2 a.m, and I was just like,
Oh yeah.
Because that's the sound that the girl that is terrifying makes.
Yeah.
She was very.
Is that the one with 7 days? Is that the one with 7 days?
She climbs out of the TV and she's got her hair messed up, all down like this.
Yeah.
Because they watch this video and it plays on the television, and then she comes out.
They watched Darren's last DVD, and
fucking right. Sale's a sale, man.
I told you about that time, Dave, when and Kathleen, that my mom, I was living with my parents for a while, and like I had Darren gives me one of his DVDs like at a show, and so boom, and I go home, and I left it somewhere in my my room, and so I come home, and it's like Darren's DVD is on the kitchen table. My mother's just kind of like sitting there, just like, and like they thought, oh, Darren's so funny. He calls the house
so
and
wacky.
Oh, he calls the house and makes the jokies.
Sure.
And he's so what a nice little guy.
Yeah.
And so my mom, I've actually heard my mom, and my mom goes, what's a fucktard?
Yeah.
Well,
let's call Darren and have him explain.
I say, yeah, exactly.
Did you? And was it? Were they worried that they played it in their house once and now it was haunted like Amityville?
And then they were worried it was like The Ring. They thought it was like The Ring. You watch Darren's DVD, and
every
then
7
Darren,
days I come back with another DVD for them to watch.
He calls you, and he's like, oh, and.
Yeah,
and the next thing you know, Dave Martin PI is at the door asking questions.
Okay. On that note, we should wrap this up. It's been over an hour. We'll end on
my dogs are losing it. They need to go for a walk.
Okay, well, thanks for tuning in, guys. Appreciate it.
How's your wedding going, Kathleen?
It's been postponed
That's
from
okay.
this fall to next summer.
Good. There's no problem. No rush.
Let's get rid of this COVID stuff and then have a party.
Let's do that first. Let's do that
Okay.
first.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, cool.
It was good to see everybody.
Good to see everybody. All right, thanks. Till next week. We'll do it again.
We'll do it again.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.